Okay, let's look at this change in estimate caused by a change in depreciation problem. Gerald Engelhard Industries, and I'm missing a D there, changed from the double declining balance to the straight line method in 2008 on all its plant assets. There was no change in the assets' salvage values or useful lives. Plant assets acquired on January 2, 2005 had an original cost of $1.6 million with $100,000 of salvage value and an 8-year estimated useful life. Income before depreciation expense was $270,000 in 2007 and $300,000 in 2008. Okay, we've got two things to do. Part A says prepare the journal entries to record the change in depreciation method in 2008. Then, starting with income before depreciation expense, we'll prepare the remaining portion of the income statement for both 2007 and 2008. And I've worked a little bit ahead just so we don't have to type it in. Okay, so the cost of the plant assets given in the problem, let me put it over here, was $1,600,000. Okay, depreciation prior to 2008 was equal to they were using the double declining balance. So if it had, how long of a life are we talking about? An 8-year life? Yeah, an 8-year life. So 1/8 is 12.5%. So 2/8 is 25%. There's the 8-year there. So what we need to do is calculate that depreciation. And here's how I'm going to calculate it. And in fact, I'll write it here. Underline this. Actually, we don't even need to do that because it says depreciation there, but we'll put it here. So we take the 1,006,000 and we need to divide it by, and the way I'm going to do that is we're going to divide it by, or the best way to say it is multiply it times 1/8, but then we double that times 2. Okay, so the end result is 400,000. And in 2006, we have to reduce the 1/6 by 400,000. So we take the 1/6 less what was already depreciated. This is the double declining balance method, right? And take that times 1/8, but then we double it. Say times 2. And we get 300,000. Now, the only change I would really like to put in that is to show that we actually do this part first. We take 1/8 times 2 to come up with essentially 2/8 or 25%, right? Times the remaining balance. Okay, and let me format this the same way. Oh, by the way, we should probably form that as currency. And then this one would look like that. Okay, in 2007, we need to take the 1/6 less the 400,000 less the 300,000, but I prefer to do it minus the combination of the depreciation taken to date. Okay, so there's just now, right there is just going to be the book value at the beginning of 2007, which is 900,000. And then we need to multiply that again times 1/8. Right? Hopefully you follow me here. Times 2. And I'm going to put brackets around both sections of that. Okay? And if we do that, we come up with 225,000. Let me just format it so it's just comma without a dollar sign. If we sum those three, we're showing that we had 925,000 of depreciation expense prior to 2008 that was taken, which gets us down to a book value at the beginning of 2008. And I'm going to indent this so we can read that right. Okay, so the book value would have been equal to the 1/6 less the 925,000, or 675,000. And I think I'll double underline that. Okay, or let me take that off because I don't have the formatting exactly right. All right. Then what we know is we've got to figure out 2008's depreciation. And 2008's depreciation would be equal to the book value minus whatever the salvage value is under straight line minus however many years we have left. Well, we still think it has an 8-year useful life. 3 years have been up already, so we have 5 years left. So what we would do is to determine the depreciation, we'd take the 675 less the 100,000, and actually let me do it with parentheses again. And right there is what I call the depreciable base, right? Just the portion that's subject to depreciation. And we have 5 years left, so we divide that by 5, straight line method, gives us $115,000. And that's how we handle a change in estimate on a go-forward basis. And so now Part B says, let's make the entry. So I'm going to make the entry right here. We'll just put the account here. And we'll assume this is a debit column and this is a credit column. Let me center those and underline them. And so the entry we would make would be a debit to depreciation expense in the amount of $115,000. And this is still Part A, making the actual entry, right? We just had to calculate it. And the credit goes to, I'll indent this, accumulated depreciation on plant assets. I think, or plant assets or equipment. It could say plant assets. I tend to say I'd call it equipment. Oh, but it is on all its plant assets. They give that in the description above, so we'll make it plant assets. All right. Now, let's take a look at Part B, which says, starting with income before depreciation expense, prepare the remaining. Oh, and I see I have a typo there too. Prepare the remaining portion of the income statement for 2007 and 2008. Okay, well, we have the depreciation amount now, so let me just let me see how I can do this. Let me hide some of these rows by grouping them. Okay, this is going to force this to move, but then I can shrink this, and I'll slide this over so we still get the same amount of screen we're looking at. And we can work on Part B down here. So give me a second and I'll get this all lined up for us. Okay, so Part B says prepare the bottom half of the income statement, or the bottom portion. So we would have income before depreciation expense, right? And actually, let's move this down one column, and we'll label this 2008 and this 2007. I'm going to center those as well. Underline it. Okay, so the income before depreciation expense, hopefully they gave us a little bit there. Income before depreciation was $270,000 and $300,000, so let me put that in. $270,000 for 2007 and $300,000 for 2008, and I'll format that correctly. And then we would need to show depreciation expense next. And the depreciation expense for 2008 is going to be equal to the $115,000. And depreciation expense for 2007, let's show that again. It's the 225, showing it the old way, right? So that doesn't change. You saw I just pulled that from above, even though now you can't see that on the screen. We solved that in Part A, only because I wanted to show the whole screen. And therefore, net income then would be equal to the 300,000 less that 115, right? So 185 and 45,000 for 2008 and 2007. Okay, and really we should double underline that. Let me see if I can get this formatted correctly. Here it comes up. I think if I go to font and do a double accounting underline, I can get it to show up right. Okay, so there's part B solved, and the 225 came from up here on part A, right there, 2007 depreciation. So if I slide, you'll see that we're not restating anything. We're just handling it on a go-forward basis. And that takes care of E2212, everyone.